World War II collecting, probably one of the most fun and amazing hobbies to do, but also one of the scariest because sometimes, if you look at the prices, you have probably the feeling that you will need to sell a kidney to buy one of these Stahlhelms or bayonets or whatsoever. Well, here am I today to debunk that myth. I'm going to take you to 5 simple steps in how to start your World War II collection and how to grow your World War II collection. So if you already have one, don't skip away because there are going to be some very useful tips for you as well. So for now, let's get straight into the video, sit back and relax because we are going to take a deep dive into World War II history. Let's go! So, the first step I would like to give you is do your basic research. World War II was already a very big war on part of innovations and what kind of gear that was used. And you can collect a lot of things because only at this table we have a lot of different things. Like we have an American shell, a German Stahlhelm, we have K89 pouches, an Italian bayonet, we have a replica M1 grandstand here. So you can collect a lot of different things. So what I like you to do first is just do basic research. Look a little bit on internet. Maybe if you have a book somewhere, look at or go look at original pictures, and just kind of get an idea of what you want to collect. Do you want to start collecting German items? Do you want to start collecting American items? Do you want to start collecting British items, or do you want to go very Pacific and only collect helmets or something? Well, that's up to you. So just do some research, not like very deeply, like if it's original or not or whatsoever. Just look into it and decide a little bit of like the first kind of item I would like to buy would be, for instance, something German World War II from the Wehrmacht, for instance. And then we can go further. So now let's go to step 2. Step 2. Step 2 is a step that probably a lot of other creators won't give you, but I find very important. Get into the community. The World War II community is very big and especially online is immense. You have a lot of Discord servers, but also a lot of YouTubers, TikTokers who make a lot of content about World War II, and it can be very entertaining and interesting to watch if you're just a beginner. Would I say go for information to there? No, I would say do your own research if you want to do things, but sometimes they give correct information. I'm sorry for my English. But why do I say that? Get into the community. Well, if you're willing to speak to people and you're not scared and you have like a basic knowledge of English, you can have the most interesting conversations who will explain with people who will explain you a lot about collecting World War II items. Say, for instance, you want to get into collecting World War II German items. I know it's a World War I helmet, but don't mind that. And you want to start collecting here. So in step 1, you decided that. So you start talking with somebody, and he has a lot of gear of that time, of World War II, of the year of German. So you start talking, and he starts learning you things about price points and everything. And you can get a whole lot of information of him. Will I say everybody is an expert and everybody will give you the correct information? Probably not. But there is some darn good information out there, and sometimes it can be very simple, like things of, okay, how much is your budget? Oh yeah, it's let's say 30 euros or 50 euros. Oh well, these, and these things are things you can normally buy below that price point. So maybe that is interesting to look at. So get into the community. You can do it for a lot of different ways. Take for instance this guy here, Brudozer. He has his own Discord server. There will be a link to that into the description, so go look into that. And but there are countless and countless of other Discord servers and other communities on Reddit, for instance, or on Facebook, where you can find a lot of information and talk with a lot of people. So now let's get into the real steps. So step 3. Step 3, buy books. Step 3 is, well, not really buy books, but aka do deep research. So you have found what things you want to collect, and you have a basic idea of what your sale budget, you have a basic idea of what some things cost and what so, and now you want to start doing your research because one sad thing about the World War II community is there is a lot of fake things. I take, for instance, my first time buying a German helmet. I was very proud of it. I found an M40 German style helmet, I think it was, still with some original paint, a little bit rusty on the sides, but beautiful helmet. And at that time, I didn't have a lot of knowledge. I wasn't in the community. It was one of my first purchases I ever did. And I think it took me about 4 months to realize it was a fake helmet. I was obviously I was devastated by that, but it also learned me a lesson to do better research in the future to buying things. And from then on, I haven't bought anything replica that I know of, and I'm like 100% certain that most of the things in my collection are original. Sometimes you buy things that you know aren't original, like this. I know the paint was repainted, but the helmet itself was original. That kind of things. But why buy books? Well, these books have more kind of visual importance, like seeing pictures of them, what are they wearing, what are maybe small things I can buy. But these kind of books I like the most. They're basically books. I will open them. Let's open a page that is a little bit interesting. Let's take, for instance, this one with all kind of different medals. Not only medals, of course, we have, or let's say you don't want to collect medals, you want to collect. It's a really big book, so I'm sorry that is taking so long. Let's say you want to start collecting flying, like for when you go flying, like from the airplanes. And there is a lot of other things where you want to start collecting German medals. These kind of books can be especially helpful. There are a lot of good books out there, and if you just search already, let's say German, for instance, I'm using a lot of German reference because I collect mostly German. Let's say you do your research and you buy the book. I think it's called German Standard Equipment Early War. Then you have like a lot of knowledge about early war equipment. You can go look into your book. Another thing is, if you want to start collecting American items, buy the USGI Reenactors Guide. The first edition was the best. There are, think, about 3 editions. They are very expensive though, but they are perfect if you want to start World War II collecting like American. So, step 3, buy your books. But of course, we have done now a lot of things. Do your research, buy your books, do research online, all that kind of things. But now the most important and most fun step always comes. Buying your first item or buying a next item. So let's get into step 4, where the fun will begin. And also, don't forget to stay until the end, because there are a lot of cool and very handy tips coming at the end. So let's go. Step 4. Okay. Step 4. Probably my favorite step, of course, and always a little bit scary step. Buying your first item. There are a lot of questions that come up with this. A couple that I'm going to answer right now is, where can I buy this? How do I know if the price is okay? And how do I know if it's fake or not? Let's get into the first question. Where can I buy this? In my head, there are a couple of options. Option 1, go search on flea markets. I cannot tell you the amount of things that are being found on flea markets. It's crazy. And also with mostly a small price. If you have ever been to a flea market, you have probably seen standing a shell around, or maybe even a helmet. And maybe most of the time the people don't know what it is and they are asking a low price for it. But you have to be very lucky, because there are also a lot of other collectors going to those flea markets, and most of the time the really good deals are bought very early on. So that's one way to do it. Another way is maybe a way that a lot of people won't like it, but I do, is buy on military affairs. Military affairs are essentially big flea markets with only World War II or World War One or whatsoever military items. Some people will say, don't go there, it's a little bit too expensive, but of course people are upping their prices. But at the other side, there's a lot of World War II items together, and if you have a little bit of knowledge of what's fake and what's not fake, and you're saying that you're a young collector, some of them will maybe also help you. Which also brings me to a very handy tip. If you are buying something or looking to buying something and it's from someone who has like a lot of World War II things laying around and he seems like a friendly guy or girl, just say to him, hey, I'm a young collector. It is my first item or one of the first items I will buy. Can you give me a little bit of an explanation and things like that? And I am certain if he's a good seller and also just a nice guy, he will help you because, as I said, the World War II community can be very nice if you are very into it. The other thing is buying online. I use things mostly like in Belgium it's called tweedehands. In the Netherlands you have Marktplaats. Probably everywhere in the world you have Facebook Marketplace. You can find a lot of things on there, but be careful because it's very hard to see online if something is fake or not. And if you do have the option to go look at it in real life before you buy it, always do it because it will be worth the price. So the next question was, of course, so the first question we already answered where. The next question, what is a good price point? And that gets me back to the World War II community because, of course, there isn't like a big book with all prices in it. Well, there are some books with prices in it, but they're mostly outdated. So that gets me back to community. Go ask people of prices. You can always, I have an Instagram called World War II Guy 1 as well. You can always send me a DM on there or even just in my comment section on here on YouTube. Like, I want to buy something German from 30 euros, or I have found this and they are asking 20 euros for them. Here are pictures. I can look into, I'm not an expert, but I can look into them and give you like a small idea of it's a good price or it's a bad price, or I would buy it, or I would advise not to buy it because it looks rather replica or fake. Then the last question, of course, is how do I know if it's a replica or not? Do your research. If you have found something that you want, go with an ID. Don't just buy the first thing you see. Let's say you want to buy K89 pouches. Do your research. What markings does it need to have? How does it need to look? Just also use common sense. If something looks very new or like this leather is very hard and stuff and it's not new leather, you can always think a little bit, okay, it's a bigger chance that it's original. Is it always completely original if it have those things? No. But if you have the markings checked, the things are correctly, everything is complete the same with the photos you find online or got from people, and it's a good price, then you can buy it. But now, of course, you have bought your first item, but you want to start expanding your collection so you can start buying M1 Garands or German helmets and whatsoever. Well, that gets me to step 5. So let's go. So step 5. Okay. Step 5. Step 5 is essentially your last step you will be needing to take, and that's essentially growing your collection out. Now you maybe have your first item, or you already have a couple of items, or whatsoever. Or you even have a big collection. It doesn't matter. These tips count for everyone. I have 4 main tips. Tip 1, don't try to rush it. Find the things that you want to have. Maybe it can take 2 months. It can maybe even take a year for you to find the thing that you really want to have. Don't try to rush it. If you want, let's say, a German Stahlhelm, an M42, and you want it in a very good condition with good paint, well, go on for that. Maybe in the year that you're waiting to find one, you can collect a little bit of more of money and you can buy a better helmet. So don't try to rush it and buy everything you see. Second tip I would like to give you is don't ever stop doing research. I knew a couple of friends and also a lot of people that were just like, okay, I have my beginner research done. Now I started collecting. I don't really have to do my research anymore. No, you need to still reading your books, buying new books, buying things online, look up things online, all that kind of things. Because after a time, you will be able to become kind of an expert in things like recognizing helmets from fake to real ones, all that kind of things where these types of weapons may be used for Americans or not, all that kind of things. And you can maybe be a really big help for young collectors as you once were. The third tip I would like to give you is be careful with your money. It can be very tempting sometimes to go to a military fair and spend everything you have, but it's still hobby and it's not your main life. So be careful with your money. Don't buy things that are way overpriced because it's the first time you saw them. No, just be gentle, be a little calm, and look at the price and be realistic. Is this a good price or is this not a good price? And then the fourth and last tip I would like to give you, and probably one of the most important tips: don't always listen to people. As I said, the World War D community can be very nice, but there are always harsh people on there. There are always people that will tell you, "Oh, that's fake," or "No, no, 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 no," or "That, yeah, that's what you're doing wrong." It can be good advice, but just be careful that you don't get annoyed by it, and sometimes just be happy because I had that feeling a lot of times, and I bet if you have a little collection after a time, or you have maybe your first cabinet with things in it, and you're coming in your room or in your collection room, you will have that feeling like, whew. It's like when you're at home and you can just walk into a World War II museum, how small it even is, and enjoy that feeling, and just enjoy collecting in general. You will make new friends, you will make a lot of new things, you will have a lot of new things, and it can be a very exciting and fun hobby. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you would like to see a World War II short movie, be sure to click on my short movie that I made, Letters of War. I hope you enjoy it. World War II Guy 1.